At Globant, we seek reinvention. We help companies around the world reinvent themselves and find their way forward through digital and cognitive transformation. Welcome to Bits and Bytes, a podcast series by Globant's Leaders. My name is Chandrama, and I am your host for this edition of Bits and Bytes. This edition features Kuljeet Kaveeshwar, fondly known as KK. KK is the Senior Technical Director of the Digital Marketing Studio at Globant, and she brings with her a wealth of experience in the AdTech, MarTech, digital marketing strategy, and implementation space. Along with KK, we delve into addressing the challenges of the cookieless world, along with exploring a tentative solution-scape for the same. We will be talking about how the demise of third-party cookies will be reshaping the ad tech and marketing arena, alongside addressing the newer definition of identity in this newly volatile and highly dynamic world of the ad tech. Let's start right away. We begin with discussing strategies that can help advertisers reinvent their stack, along with exploring various different ID solutions and how they define different use cases individually. All of this along with gauging the current fitment of CDP amidst the newer must-haves. Hi Kuljeet, welcome to Globant's Bits and Bytes.
Hi Chandrama, thanks for having me. Indeed, a very interesting topic for our conversation today. Let's dive in.
Sure. So Kuljeet, marketers, advertisers, and publishers all are curious to know how they can be ready for this cookieless world. With Google all set to announce the transition timeline and the actual date as to when Chrome will retire third-party cookies, which is speculated to be between September to October of 2022, what strategies can help them reinvent their stack so that businesses can adjust exceptionally well to this massive upcoming change?
Chandrama, while this change will make the existing ad landscape more complex to navigate, it's happening for a good reason, like to create a more private, transparent, and trustworthy internet for all. The primary question now is, how can publishers, advertisers, and agencies prepare for a cookieless world so they can continue with effective ad targeting? There is no one-size-fits-all solution. The advertisers will need a combination of solutions to survive the post-cookie world. In an ideal scenario, marketers need a solution that's easy to use while simultaneously aligning with their current operations and tools. With that in mind, identity solutions like Google Privacy Sandbox, Fledge, programmatic header bidding, advertising ID consortiums, universal ID solutions, first-party data solutions, along with specialized push notification marketing, have already rolled their balls into the court.
The upcoming demise of cookies brings the importance of privacy to the forefront. Today, it's really important for your audience to feel safe with their data exchange. And that's where the relevance of their intent comes in. Can you perhaps explore for our audience as to how Google Topics API fits into building this?
The ad industry has been relying a lot on hyper-personalization. And before the cookie phase out, we need to plan, test, and optimize new data collection techniques. Google has been truly conscious of the fact that the marketers have to create similar target groups to create lookalike audience, a kind of must-have. No privacy invasion is allowed for sure, but finding intent has always been quite a center aim that the ad industry strives to achieve. And to not miss the latest, Google Topic API is a step towards that. Google's Privacy Sandbox initiative focuses on improving web privacy for users, while simultaneously it helps publishers and advertisers with tools they need to target the audience. With topics, the advertisers will have access to intent data. The browser will determine a limited number of interests per week based on the user's web activity. The important aspect that needs a special attention here is that the browser will store the search topics only for a limited period of time, 3 weeks before deleting them. So the advertisers need to be really, really swift to make use of this data before it disappears. And this is where the real challenge lies. And to address this challenge, the marketers must focus on building a robust customer data platform, work towards strengthening your customer database, and have an eagle's eye on the first party and the zero party data.
A new wave of cookieless identity solutions is sweeping the ad tech industry, especially in the wake of deprecation of third-party cookies. Would you say there really is something known as the best ID solution that will take away all the problems of the cookieless world single-handedly?
While that's debatable, there is actually no easy answer for this question. All of the ID solutions are still in the works, with some already in use. While there is the latest version of Trade Desk's ID solution, Unified ID 2.0, which uses anonymized email addresses as an identifier to replace third-party cookies, there is also Universal ID by ID 5, which uses combination of soft signals, including IP addresses, user agent, page URLs, page referrers, etc., combined with first-party storage mechanisms to identify users. For some, Newstar launched Fabric ID might be a more suitable option, as it has a deterministic identifier designed to replace third-party cookie targeting. While for advertisers whose prime area of problem is dealing with anonymous users, the ID solutions like Persistent ID that allows publishers to identify logged in and anonymous visitors without using third-party cookies might be the solution. For publishers, the final decision may come down to which ID solutions allow them to transact effectively with their existing programmatic demand partners, while also providing a high rate of identity resolution success. It's also worth noting that ID-based solutions aren't the only way to avoid third-party targeting. Google's privacy sandbox is moving forward. The contextual targeting is always a possibility.
I think we can all agree that we are currently entering into a time wherein the very definition of identity has been flipped. As cookies go out and privacy kicks in, would DMPs and CDPs be enough for marketers?
No, they wouldn't be. Anonymity is a thing of the past. That is the reason you can suddenly see the relatively quiet categories of customer information authentication management, enterprise consent and preference management taking the center stage. They will now become the core priorities of any modern CDP. Since the new world of customer identity will revolve around authenticated, consented into data, then all brands would need a system to capture user data and manage consent and preferences at scale. And that system would sit at the very heart of data management. This would no longer be just a legal requirement, but a prerequisite for customer experience delivery. Permission marketing is no longer a differentiator. It's the very rule.
Wow, that is fascinating, even in terms of phrasing. This brings us to the end of a very exciting and insightful episode 1. This episode did rattle some feathers in terms of what should be the next strategic steps that the advertisers and marketers take in the wake of the upcoming cookie crumble, along with giving us an overview of audience targeting amidst a personalization crisis that could be clouding the audience targeting campaigns. Now we know for a fact that there is a world beyond the cookies and there is effective data beyond the cookies. However, this makes us wonder, are there any limitations to the ID solutions as well? If so, what next? And while there are a number of solutions out there, what about interoperability amongst them? How do these fit into an existing stack of a marketer? Uncover these pertinent questions in the next episode of our series, What's Next in the Cookieless World? This brings us to the end of this wonderfully informative session and discussion by KK. But this is far from over. Keep watching this space. Until next time.